The movie begins during peak COVID, at the time when everyone is quarantining in their own houses. Haley turns on her camera and starts a Zoom call. She leaves her laptop unattended when she hears a knocking sound and goes to check on it. Meanwhile, Gemma enters the waiting room, while Haley takes her laptop out towards her hallway. Haley does not notice Gemma in the waiting room and leaves her room. Suddenly, her supply closet door opens up and broomsticks fall out in her hallway. She then goes to her living room and lifts up her blinds when she hears knocking on the window. She finds Gemma outside her apartment, throwing rocks at her window to get her attention. Gemma tells her to let her in on the call. Haley sets her laptop on the table and allows Gemma to enter the call. The two of them greet each other, and Gemma asks her if she is excited about the night. Haley tells her that she is. Gemma then asks if she has tried anything like what they are going to do that night, to which Haley replies that she has. She tells Gemma that she has done it a couple of times, and that every time she does a séance, she senses strange happenings around her which spook her out, but assures her that it is only the spirits trying to communicate with her. Gemma seems to be having fun with this, and is equally as excited. She enters her own apartment and joins the Zoom call from her laptop as well. Having joined from two devices, the audio and video begin to get distorted. Not being able to stand it, Haley asks Gemma to mute herself from her phone so that they can hear each other properly. Gemma finally ends the call from her phone and tells Haley that she needs to send an important email before the two of them can talk. They sit in silence for a few seconds when their friend Emma joins the call as well. Emma greets them and asks them how they are. Before they can respond, their friend Radina joins in as well. Everyone begins greeting each other when Radina starts coughing. Her friends ask her if she might have COVID, but she tells them to calm down and that it is a normal cough. Right at that moment, Caroline joins the call as well. With a mask on her face, her friends begin to laugh at her. Caroline then turns her camera towards her father, Pat, and everyone greets him as well. Haley asks Pat if he has been staying inside since the lockdown started, but Caroline complains to her friends about him leaving their house, despite her telling him not to. Gemma tells Pat that he needs to be more careful. She then enters her room and sets her phone down as well. Just then, they hear loud chopping noises coming from Radina's background. Radina apologizes to her friends and mutes the call before heading towards her boyfriend, who has been working in the kitchen behind her back. The two of them seem to have an argument, and her boyfriend leaves the kitchen and heads to their bedroom. Emma points out that they should not have moved in together for the lockdown, after knowing each other only for a few months. When Radina returns to the call, Gemma asks her if she is alright. Radina assures her friends that she is fine, and that sometimes when the two of them have an argument, her boyfriend locks himself up in their room. To lighten the mood, Emma puts on a scary filter and tells her friends that this is going to be them later that night. Then Caroline tells everyone that she has to show them something. She changes the settings, and a background that she recorded of herself appears on the screen. In this recording, Caroline comes into her room and starts going through her drawers. Just then, Emma informs everyone that their friend Teddy is going to join the call as well. Caroline, who has a crush on Teddy, immediately removes the mask from her face and thanks Emma for the heads up. The girls begin discussing Teddy's new girlfriend, Ginny, and claim that she is boring and seems desperate. Soon, Teddy joins the call from his pool. He kisses his girlfriend goodbye and goes inside his house for a better connection. He shows the girls his home and tells them that they have an inbuilt bar. Then, Caroline asks him if he managed to get the item that the medium asked them to bring with them. He shows her a music box and tells them that his brother used to play the music box to scare him. Haley interrupts their conversation and tells them that her friend Ceylon is a medium who has led several seances. She tells her friends to be respectful of her and take the seance seriously, even if it is virtual. Everyone agrees, but Teddy asks everyone to take a shot every time Ceylon says, "Astral plane." Before they start the seance, they take a group picture. Haley then informs everyone that Ceylon is in the waiting room. As soon as Ceylon enters the call, everyone greets her. She asks them if they have their items ready, which connects them to a spirit. They show her their items, and then Gemma asks her if she can talk to her grandparents, even if they don't speak the same language. Ceylon assures her that there is no universal language in the astral plane, which means that she can talk to anyone, even pets. Hearing her say the words astral plane, everyone moves away from their screens and takes a shot. Then, Ceylon asks everyone to turn off their lights and light their candles, so that the spirits can use the candle as a beacon that will draw them towards it. She then tells everyone that they need to respect each other and the spirits, because they are not as protected as they would be in a physical setting. She tells them that they will have to imagine that they are forming a circle. When they want to break it off, they will have to imagine having a rope around their wrist that guides them towards their door and cut it off with a knife or a scissor. Then she asks them to close their eyes and visualize a circle. Everyone closes their eyes and tries to concentrate, when all of a sudden, Ginny shows up behind Teddy and disconnects him from the call. Frustrated by her interrupting their call, all of the girls start to feel restless. Ceylon calms them down and tells them that they can continue without Teddy. Then, she tells the girls to imagine forming a circle again, so that the spirits can communicate with them. Once again, the girls close their eyes and begin concentrating. Ceylon asks them if they can feel anything around them, or if they can visualize a face. When no one replies, she tells Radina that she can see a light flickering behind her. Radina tells her that it's light on her fridge that she is pointing at. Haley tells everyone that she can feel someone's hand on her shoulder. Before anyone can say anything, Gemma screams and stands up. She tells them that she can feel someone's presence behind her. When Salen asks her if a name has come to mind, she says that she remembers a boy she used to go to school with, who ended his name Jack. She then hides her face and starts crying. Suddenly, they hear a loud knocking sound, scaring everyone. Salen immediately apologizes and tells them that it is her food delivery. As she leaves to get her food, Emma asks Gemma if she is okay. Gemma removes her hands from her face and starts laughing. This upsets Haley, because she wanted everyone to take the séance seriously. She excuses herself and takes a bathroom break. Everyone does the same, but when they return, they sit down awkwardly. Gemma once again starts joking and tells Haley to calm down. The two of them get into an argument, with Haley telling Gemma that she needs to respect Salen, when all of a sudden her chair gets dragged back. Salen, who had returned already, is about to say something when her call gets disconnected. This scares everyone, and Haley tells the girls that they need to form the circle again and continue with the séance. She tries asking if there is anyone in the room with her, but when she hears a knock, she gets up and begins searching her house. Haley informs them that the noise is coming from someone else, and not her. The girls remain silent for a minute, and finally point out that it's coming from Caroline's screen. They tell Caroline that she needs to search her house. She agrees and goes out of her room. She calls out to her father, but does not hear back from him. Then Caroline says that the sound is coming from her attic. She lets down the overhead ladder and climbs up. This is when Gemma points out that someone is standing in front of her, causing her to panic and rush back to her room. Haley tells the girls that spirits show up in photos when the eye can't see them, and goes to her room to pick her camera up. She snaps a photo and shows it to everyone. The photo managed to capture the spirit's figure. Just then, Emma's wine glass shatters to pieces, scaring everyone again. Scared, Emma pushes herself to the corner of the room, while Caroline starts crying. She begs Haley to call Salen. Haley calls her, and when Salen picks up the phone, she apologizes for getting disconnected due to her internet connection. Haley tells her that they have been experiencing strange things, and would like her to guide them through it. She tells the girls that it may be a spirit trying to communicate with them, which is what they gathered to do in the first place. She then asks Gemma to continue talking about Jack, and asks if it is Jack who is trying to communicate with her. Everyone looks at Gemma, and waits for her to come clean that she made Jack up. Gemma apologizes to Salen, and tells her that Jack does not exist, and that she made him up. Hearing this, Salen is not happy. She reminds them that she told them not to disrespect the spirits in any way. Now that Gemma has made someone up, she has sent out an open invitation for all kinds of spirits to enter. She has summoned a random spirit, who might be demonic. Knowing that they have to continue with the séance, Salen tells the girls to ask the spirit if it has a message for them, after which they can end the séance. The girls ask out loud if the spirit has a message for them. This causes Haley's lights to flicker. Salen tells them that this is a good sign. Then she asks the girls to repeat after her, and asks if the spirit is a friend. When the girls repeat the phrase, Haley's lights once again begin flickering and Salen's call drops. Once again, everyone starts freaking out. Haley shouts and tells them to calm down so that she can figure out what to do next. She tries calling Salen again, but when she doesn't pick up, Haley tells everyone to visualize a rope around them so that she can end the séance. She tells them to blow out the candle after. Everyone then blows their candles out, but Caroline tells Haley that she had already blown her candle out. Haley assures her that it is okay. The girls turn their lights on and begin laughing about what happened. Raidena gets up, along with her laptop, to use the bathroom, while Caroline leaves her room to check up on her father. Raidena asks her friends if they noticed her boyfriend leaving their apartment behind her back, but everyone only saw him go into their bedroom. She tries calling him, but finds his cell phone in the bathroom. Raidena goes back to her living room and sets her camera down to call her boyfriend's friends to ask about him. Meanwhile, Gemma tells everyone that she is going to end the call. Haley tells her that they should wait until Raidena is done with her phone call. Gemma starts calling out for Caroline, and soon notices her coming back into the room. However, when she calls out for Caroline again, she does not respond. She realizes that it is her preset background, and not actually Caroline. Haley announces that she is going to call Caroline to check up on her. Suddenly, they see a flash of red before her call disconnects. At the same time, Emma notices her light bulb moving. As she turns the camera back down, she notices a filter in her living room. Her friends tell her to turn the filters off, but she had not turned them on. She moves towards the mask filter, when it suddenly turns its head towards her, scaring her. Then her kitchen cabinets begin slamming open and shut. Emma grabs a bag of flour and dumps it on the place where the filter appeared. Just when she starts to think that the spirit is gone, footsteps begin appearing in the flour and start moving towards her. Gemma screams at Emma to run out of her house. Emma rushes towards her door, when she gets lifted in the air and gets dropped to the ground. She manages to run into her room and hides on her bed. During this, Raidena continues her call. Gemma and Haley tell them that they are going to exit their apartments together. They call out to Raidena, but notice smoke coming out of her oven. Raidena muted the call, so she can't hear anyone. She turns off the gas and then asks her friends what they want, when her boyfriend's body falls from the ceiling. Scared, Raidena rushes to leave her apartment, but something drags her back and slams her into something. The rest of the girls watch in horror as blood appears on Raidena's camera. Messages from Caroline appear in the group chat box as she reconnects. Gemma tells her that she cannot understand what she is trying to say. Right at that moment, Caroline's face appears, covered with blood. The spirit slams her head on the table repeatedly, causing more blood to gush out. She whispers, "Help me," before her face disappears again, and her preset background comes back on. Haley picks up her phone to call Caroline, when Gemma shouts at her and tells her that it is her fault that they were even doing a séance. Haley screams back and tells her that it is her fault for not respecting the spirits and making someone up. Their argument is interrupted by Haley's chair getting dragged back, making her fall. Gemma calls out for her, but Haley tells her to shut up and gets up. She is still crying when something grabs her leg and drags her out of her living room, slamming the door behind her. Emma and Gemma, who have been watching everything, begin panicking. Gemma gets up and starts wearing a mask. She tells Emma that she is going to check on Haley, since the two of their houses are close to each other. Emma begs her not to leave her alone, but Gemma still leaves her apartment and runs towards Haley's. The call disconnects halfway through, and Emma is left alone. She starts crying, but just then, Teddy rejoins the call. A creepy Joker puppet that he had shown them earlier appears on the screen. Assuming that it's the spirit again, Emma calls out for Teddy. Then Teddy appears on the screen and begins laughing at Emma's frightened expression, thinking that he managed to scare her. When he notices none of the other girls are on the screen, he starts calling out for them and asks them to stop messing around with him. Emma speaks again and tells Teddy to get out of his house. However, he still thinks that Emma is joking with him and ignores her pleas. He asks her to fill him in on what happened since he was gone, and also apologizes for taking so long to rejoin the call. He also wants to talk about Celine and starts making fun of her, but Emma interrupts him. She begins telling him that a spirit is haunting them, but before she can finish, the lights in Teddy's house go out. At the same time, a notice pops up on the screen, informing them that they have less than 10 minutes left of the call. Teddy tells Emma to not worry, and that he just needs to fix the wiring in the breaker box. He doesn't make it to the breaker box before something starts dragging him around, knocking over furniture. Teddy turns his flashlight on and flashes it around. All of a sudden, the spirit's face appears in front of him. Scared, Teddy rushes towards the door and tries to leave. Emma urges him to run faster and make it out before the spirit can get to him. He manages to leave the house and starts calling out for his girlfriend. Ginny moves towards him, but before she can reach him, the spirit gets a hold of her neck. It drags her back and lifts her up in the air. Then the spirit crushes her neck and takes her life. It drops her body into the pool. Teddy starts screaming and calling out for Ginny, all while Emma watches them helplessly. He then hides in his house and tells Emma that he knows the spirit is near him. He pulls out his lighter and lights it up. That is when he hears his old music box playing nearby. He takes the lighter with him and moves towards the sound. When he finds the box, the spirit jumps at him, causing him to fall over and lose consciousness. Because the lighter flew out of his hands, his clothes catch fire. Emma screams for Teddy to wake up. At first, he does not respond, but when he does, the fire spreads to his face and he starts screaming before the call disconnects. Knowing that her friend has probably not survived, Emma cries while still hiding under her sheets. She then decides to leave her apartment before the spirit can get to her. As soon as she removes the sheet from over her head, she senses a presence in her room. She throws her sheets near the door, and it gets caught on the silhouette of the creature. Emma starts running and manages to make it out, but the spirit catches up to her and throws her across her backyard. She lands on the garden table and breaks her neck. Meanwhile, Gemma arrives at Haley's apartment and starts knocking. When Haley does not respond, she smashes her window and enters. She rushes towards Haley's laptop and notices Emma's body. Then, one by one, all of her friends get disconnected from the call, leaving only Haley's computer connected. Gemma moves back and starts looking around the living room, when a bottle of wine flies towards her and knocks her out. When she regains consciousness, she lies on the ground with her head bleeding. Still trying to gather her bearings, she opens her eyes. Suddenly, everything on Haley's kitchen counter flies towards her. She manages to avoid it and rolls away. She gets up and curses the spirit. She turns around to find a chair swaying side to side. Knowing that she has little time to find Haley before the spirit appears again, she opens the door through which Haley was dragged. She opens the closet door, and an iron stand falls over, scaring her. She moves towards Haley's bedroom and opens the door. She flashes her flashlight around and finds Haley hiding in the corner. Noticing Gemma inside her apartment, Haley gets up and greets her. The two of them move towards the door again, intending to leave the apartment. Haley grabs her camera and decides to take a photo to see where the spirit is standing. She snaps a photo, and before it can develop fully, the spirit jumps out at the two of them and attacks them. The movie ends with the Zoom call ending.